The Jordan Legacy 312 was spawned from Don C's love of Chicago and the history of Jordan brand. The shoe takes elements from classic Jordan silhouettes like the Jordan 1 and the Jordan 3 and combines them into a brand new silhouette. The shoe released on July 14th for $160 in 2 different colorways. This black, white, and blue, and of course the bright neon green. When images of the shoe first leaked, it was widely criticized, prompting Don C to officially reveal the shoe in an effort to prove that the final product looked better than the distorted images online. On a personal note, because of the amount of hate that I saw online for the shoe, I thought it'd be an easy kick to grab just for the review. But no, the community did what it does best and said one thing and did something completely opposite. You guys hated on the shoes and then bought out every single pair in the city. I had to buy this pair for resale. I don't even want it. What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler and today I'm reviewing the Jordan Legacy 312. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't yet, but with all that out of the way, let's get into it. I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. I was definitely one of those people who didn't like this shoe when images first dropped. I'm a huge fan of the Jordan 1s, a big fan of the Jordan 3s, but as I'm sure is the same with a lot of you guys, I'm not a huge fan of Jordan hybrids. And to be honest, like the Spizikes, that's exactly what this is. In fairness, now that I have the shoe in hand, my opinion has changed a little bit. I like it more than I thought I was going to. The materials are nicer than I expected. However, there are some quality control issues which I'll go over later on in the review. There's some weird design elements like the strap and the placement of the elephant print, which I just really don't like. And at the end of the day, if you're not from the 312, don't love Don C, or just don't like hybrids, this is probably not a shoe for you. But before I go into any more detail, let's take a closer look at the shoe. You could probably tell right off the bat that the upper of the shoe is primarily composed of an Air Jordan 1 and the midsole and the outsole is taken directly from an Air Jordan 3. And that was Don C's original idea behind the shoe. Apparently the first prototype came together when Don C asked a friend of his who worked at Nike to put an Air Jordan 1 upper on a Jordan 3 midsole and outsole. And in my personal opinion, I think if they had just left it at that, it probably would have looked okay. But I feel like he just added so much extraneous stuff on the upper that just overcomplicates the shoe that it turned from what it could have been to what it is now. So to get into some of that extraneous stuff, let's jump right into the upper. Starting things off on the shoe, we've got an Air Jordan 1 toe. This outer mudguard comes in pretty soft royal blue leather, and then the inner section of the toe is covered in this nicely tumbled and actually surprisingly soft white leather. One compliment I've got to give the shoe is that it looks like they've actually used some pretty nice quality materials throughout the sneaker, which I honestly didn't expect. As you continue back on the shoe, that's where things start to get weird. On the lateral side, just behind that mudguard we just talked about, you've got this sort of random patch of elephant print. I'm all for elephant print. I don't mind it. I think it's a nice touch, especially on certain shoes like the Air Jordan 3 and the Air Jordan 4. But as what seems to be an afterthought on this tiny little strip on the lateral and medial side of the shoe, I feel like the design and the placement just really overcomplicates things, and that's where it kind of bums me out because the Air Jordan 1 is a really simple and clean shoe. I would even say that the Air Jordan 3 is a really clean and simple shoe. But when you combine the shoes and take design elements that only really work on one silhouette, it just becomes too much. This elephant print strip of material is slightly longer on the lateral side than it is on the medial side. Not that it matters, just something that I noticed. Moving up from the elephant print, you find this blue leather panel, which usually on the Air Jordan 1 has eyelets. However, on the Jordan Legacy 312, it instead has a strap. I used to think the elephant print was my least favorite part of the shoe, but when you cover it up, it's really the strap that makes the shoe look weird. I have nothing against straps on shoes, especially not on Jordan basketball models. A lot of really great sneakers have them. You've got the PG1, you've got the entire Air Yeezy line. Like, there's nothing wrong with straps, but on this shoe, it just doesn't work for me. The strap on this colorway comes in black with blue Nike text. Of course, it's Velcro like most Nike straps, and you can actually pull the strap out of the medial side if you want sort of a more laid back look on the shoe. That actually looks better in my opinion. I don't know what it is. The strap really doesn't do too much in the way of fit. I mean, the Jordan 1 already pretty much fits true to size, so if you really need to tighten down the midfoot area, I guess you could tighten up the strap. Underneath the strap, you've got your flat black laces that run all the way up the shoe. Rather than your standard Air Jordan 1 eyelets, he actually took the Air Jordan 3 plastic eyelets and put them where that nice leather panel is on the Jordan 1. That touch I actually don't mind. I feel like it's a little bit too extra, but I don't mind it. Around the top of the ankle, he also swapped out the regular punch-out holes on the Jordan 1 for the Air Jordan 3 plastic eyelets. Again, don't hate it, just a weird touch. The tongue itself is the standard Air Jordan 1 tongue. On this colorway, it comes in black. At the top of the tongue, instead of your Nike Air branding, you've got a white tag that says Just On in blue. I actually kind of dig that part if I'm honest. Moving inside the shoe, you've got this black mesh sock liner, which is similar but different from the standard Air Jordan 1 sock liner. It's a little bit softer, that's about it. The insole of the shoe is pretty plain. It comes in all blue with the Just On patch on the heel. As for fit, the Jordan Legacy 312 does seem to fit me true to size. To me, it didn't really feel any different than a standard Air Jordan 1, even with the strap. So if you're trying to grab a pair of these for yourself, I'd probably suggest going with your true to size or whatever your standard Air Jordan 1 size is. But as always, if you have a chance to try on the shoe first before you buy them, I definitely suggest doing that to make sure the sizing is right for you. One quality control thing that's really bothered me on this shoe, and is pretty apparent all the way around the upper, is that it looks like there's a lot of loose threads around the sneaker, which is kind of annoying, especially around this midfoot panel on both of my shoes. I think it's worse on the left shoe than on the right shoe, but there's a bunch of like weird like stray blue strings and white strings that just really don't need to be there. Not a huge deal, but it's kind of annoying. Continuing back on the shoe, you get to some more pretty nicely tumbled white leather on the midfoot, and just like the regular Jordan 1, you've got a Nike swoosh ending in the center of the midfoot. Just like most other Jordan 1s, you've got a black gloss wings logo on the upper leather panel. Just behind the upper panel, instead of your regular leather panel around the top of the ankle, you've got this black neoprene. Not sure why he went with this neoprene material instead of leather. I mean, I don't hate it, I just don't get it. Below that, you've got this weird heel counter in blue leather. It's like a weird mashup of the Jordan 1's heel counter and the Jordan 3's heel counter. I don't love it, I don't hate it. I'm glad they didn't make it elephant print. Actually, you know what? If they had made this elephant print instead of adding this elephant print panel here, that might have looked better. I'm not sure, but the shape of the panel is kind of weird on the back of the shoe. And then moving around to the heel of the shoe, you've got an Air Jordan 3 heel counter in white. I love the back of the Jordan 3, I love the back of the Jordan 1, but together, nah, not working for me. Of course, sticking out from the back of the heel tab, you've got the Jumpman and the Air text in black. Moving down on the silhouette, you get to the one part of the sneaker that seems to be taken directly from another sneaker and not altered in any way. And that, of course, is the Air Jordan 3 midsole and outsole. The midsole comes in primarily white with the black accent around the heel. As I mentioned before, there are a couple imperfections on the sneaker, and the midsole seems to be one of the biggest culprits. You've got super obvious brush strokes throughout the midsole that don't look good. You've got some pretty bad glue marks around where the midsole attaches to the upper, and then on my right shoe, it looks like the person who was painting the black on the midsole sort of missed a little bit on this white part. I mean, none of these are huge details, and it doesn't bother me that much, but when you're paying good money for a sneaker, you expect something to be in pretty good condition when you get it. Maybe not perfect condition, but good condition. Finally, moving to the bottom of the shoe, you've got your standard Air Jordan 3 outsole in gray, red, and white. Overall, as I'm sure you've expected from this review, Don C's Jordan Legacy 312 is kind of a disappointing sneaker. I've met Don C at Jordan brand events. I love most of his work. I really love the Air Jordan 2s he put out in 2015, but this particular pair, not really my thing. Nothing against the shoe, I was actually pretty surprised by the quality of the materials on the sneaker. Yes, there were some quality control issues. That's not his fault, that's just something that happened. It's just the overall busyness of this silhouette is not really for me. I do have to say though, there are 3 more colorways dropping next month, and one of them, the AirTech Challenge 2 Hot Lava version, is actually kind of fire. As you guys know, I had to buy my pair for resale, which sucked. I did end up running into Mayer at Stadium Goods, which was kind of cool. But with that being said, this colorway and the green colorway are not really my thing. If you guys are looking to grab these, resale isn't terrible. It's probably about $100 over retail right now. If you do prefer some of those upcoming colorways, I definitely suggest waiting for them rather than trying to grab these pairs now. But if you need to have it, like most of the people in New York apparently, I say go for it. But that about wraps it up for the video. Today, I'd love to know your thoughts on the Jordan Legacy 312 and whether you think it's trash or whether you think it's heat. So make sure to leave those comments in the comment section down below. Make sure to give me a follow on Instagram and IGTV at Real Seth Fowler. I do a bunch of IGTV exclusive unboxings that will never make it on this channel. So if you guys want to see any more of my content, make sure to head on over there and give me a follow at Real Seth Fowler. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.